I'm live. It's always a weird feeling. Okay, today for the very first time, we are coming to you live on Facebook, the Chandler Crouch Realtors Facebook page, Chandler Crouch, my personal profile, also on LinkedIn and on Twitter. The technology I'm using here is just amazing. We're broadcasting live all over the internet to bring to you breaking news regarding tax protests in the Tarrant Appraisal District and the city of Keller and what true leadership looks like. We have a situation unfolding as we speak. It's coming to you live, hot off the press, just waiting for a few eyeballs to show up here. We can see how many people are watching right now, and people are logging on this very second to see and hear what's going on. There is breaking news, and it is you're going to hear about it here first. I usually try not to take center stage and be the first one to talk about this stuff because there are so many people fighting for uh, good causes, fighting for taxpayers behind the scenes that I'm not usually the. But anyway, I just want maximum involvement. All right, so I'm just kind of killing time, not saying anything. Here we go. I'll go ahead and give you the breaking news. The city of Keller, the mayor of the city of Keller, Armin Mizani, he just sent a letter to the Tarrant Appraisal District warning them about issues regarding the appraisal system. And let me explain what that looks like. In fact, I'm not going to explain it. I'm going to show you right now. So I'm going to present this other screen. And give me a second. That's what it looks like. Boom. Here we go. So this is something you're seeing here for the very first time because it was just drafted moments ago. The Keller mayor, Armin Mizani, he sent this letter to Mr. Law, the chief appraiser of the Tarrant Appraisal District, and he says, I'm going to go ahead and read it. He says, hundreds of thousands of taxpayers throughout Tarrant County have received their blue property value notices, yet most taxpayers attempting to file their protests online have been unable to do so as a result of deficiencies with the Tarrant Appraisal District website. TAD's website, which hasn't been fully functional since November 2022, does not currently provide the option for automated market reviews, a tool that not only many taxpayers throughout Tarrant County depend on, but one that is required by state law. Adding insult to injury, a Tarrant Appraisal District spokesperson said earlier this week that the automated market review tool is not expected to be running normally until May 4th, despite the protest deadline remaining May 15th. TAD's inability to address its website issues, known since 2022, will significantly reduce the window for taxpayers to protest their assessments conveniently. And that's not only if the repairs are made, hold on, and that's only if the repairs are made in time and hold up to what I imagine will be overwhelming website traffic once the tool goes live. This is inexcusable. Through this letter, I urge Tarrant Appraisal District and the Tarrant County Tax Assessor Collector, who's Wendy Burgess, to explore all available options to remedy this issue, including the possibility of extending the deadline for taxpayers to file their protests as a result of the website issues at the Tarrant Appraisal District. Taxpayers should not be on the hook for TAD's inability to safeguard its website functions as required by state law. Signed off, regards, Armin Mizani, Mayor, City of Keller, Texas. And my response to this is we are currently experiencing zero downtime over at www.freetaxprotest.com, brought to you on zero budget. Here's what this looks like. When you go on over, whoopsie daisies, what am I doing here? I got the wrong thing. All right. As long as I can enter in a website accurately. Free. Okay, that's what I did. Freetaxprotest.com. When you go there, you'll see this. This is a way that you can look up your property. You can search by property address or account number. You enter it in 4648. There you go. And you select and you say, does my property qualify? Guess what? If you are in Tarrant County and you have a single family residential house, then your property will almost surely qualify. And you go through the prompts here and you say whether or not you're the owner, whether or not the information is correct. You're going to get a deal right here. You put your email address in. We verify email. We've got security happening here. We take your security serious. And anyway, on and on. Here's the point. Our property tax system is messed up, and the appraisal district plays a role in this. It should be a pretty limited role. The property tax issues in our system extend much further beyond. I can't talk. It's the end of the day. I'm just barely able to string together a sentence here. But the tax issues are largely a result of a flawed property tax code. There are a lot of good employees at the appraisal district going to work every day, fighting from the inside, and they've helped me tremendously. But not everybody is on the good side, and they don't always execute at the level that we would hope. I think despite their best intentions, sometimes they fall on their face. And unfortunately, it's a situation that's taking a toll on people's ability to protest. I've seen, let's go here. I promise you, I was just trying to pull up the website so I could go through tad.org. I'm going to go ahead and refresh tad.org. It just timed out on me. This is what's happening. The appraisal district unveiled their brand new website. If you can see up there, it's kind of small, but the spinning wheel of death is happening. I don't know if it's going to time out again, but they unveiled this brand new website on April the 10th, I believe. And then they sent value notices out on April. Oh, there it goes. It just came up. They sent value notices out on April the 14th. And so we've got a situation here where they're unveiling this brand new technology. They've been working on it for a good long while, since November 2022. And we had high hopes about it. I know that they did some much needed upgrades, but it appears as though it's just not quite ready for whatever reason. And it is concerning. I think people need the ability to be able to protest, especially when we've been accustomed to getting on Tad's website and doing the instant answer thing. I've promoted that. I've given instructions on how to do that. That option's not available. So you can come to my website. I say it tongue in cheek, but it's actually a serious thing. I want to help as many people as I possibly can. And this year, more than ever, people need help. Go to freetaxprotest.com. Share it. I can still help a ton of people. Single family residential houses, homeowners here in Tarrant County, even if it's rental property, send them on over. I can help people. And we're going to continue accepting folks as long as we can. So if you go on Tad's website, you can search and you can navigate it, but there's a good chance it'll time out on you if you don't watch out. It happens periodically. So anyway, I'm not here to give a tutorial on Tad's website. I'm here to give you the breaking news of the letter that Armin Mizani, mayor of Keller, sent over to Jeff Law, chief appraiser of the Tarrant Appraisal District, regarding the concerns of their website. And then, I'm going to tell you about my website because I'm happy to help. That's what I'm doing all of this for, is to help people. The values that I'm seeing this year are just insane. I talked to somebody today who has a $950,000 house. His value went up to $1.6 million. That's insane. I just talked. There's another person whose value just went up $200,000. They had like a $300,000 house and went up to $500,000. We're talking about really, really insane increases. And one of the reasons is because of how this whole system is set up. You had a bunch of sales happen last year, and the values were just off the charts. They values went up about 15% towards the middle of last year. Well, after May, June, the values started to tank because interest rates went sky high. Values dropped about 10%. So by the time we got to January 1st, values had dropped about 10%. Well, guess what? The appraisal district revalues these properties according to what they think the value was on January 1st. And since they only revalue once a year, they take into account all the previous 12 months of sales, including the sales that were 10% higher. So we all get these value notices in the mail with a proposed value that's far beyond what we could sell our house for. And the weird thing is I think that the appraisal district knows it. They're supposed to look at sales over the past 12 months. So they look at sales over the past 12 months. They send out the value notices, and now we're all in. We've got these enormous proposed values, and so it's more important this year than ever to protest your property tax value. You are not robbing the government of money. You're not going to end up on some kind of naughty list. The government's not going to get mad at you if you've got condition issues and repairs that need to be done to your house. They're not going to call code enforcement. You're not going to devalue your house. There are so many reasons why that people give on why they don't protest, but the reality is there's no downfall whatsoever that I can think of. In fact, let me just touch on one that I just mentioned. Some people think that they're going to devalue their house by protesting. Couldn't be anything further from the truth. Nobody in the real estate business takes your tax value serious when they go to advise a client. There's no appraiser, no realtor is going to look at your tax value and say, oh, you know what? Your tax value is, $100,000 above what all the other properties are selling for. So we're just going to roll with that. No, it doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way when the value's too high or when the value's too low. An accurate way of valuing a property is to look at what similar properties have sold for near the subject property recently. And that's it. And when the market tanks, does a 10% nosedive, then guess what? You have to shrink the window a little bit and look, maybe instead of looking back at the past 6 months or 12 months, maybe you can only look at the past 3 months. And so that's what we're doing. When we protest, we're going to look at the lowest sales possible because those sales are the sales that are the most accurate. It just happens to be that way this year. I mean, we typically try and justify the lowest ethical value that we can justify. And it's a range. But this year, the very bottom of that range is probably the most accurate because of the way the market's gone. So I hope that makes sense. You owe it to you and your family to make sure that you're not paying too much and you're not doing anybody any favors by not protesting. It's no sweat off my back. Last year, I did 28,000 more than anybody else. This year, I'm going to do a lot more than that. I'm having 800,000 people sign up a day, something ridiculous. People need help. And I'm depending on you guys to spread the word. Y'all have to go in your Facebook groups and tell people about your experience with me, with protesting. Tell them about the website. Go on to nextdoor.com. And then here's one thing I'm really concerned about. The people that aren't on Facebook. The people that aren't on Facebook have no way of hearing about this if you don't knock on your neighbor's door, you don't tell somebody at church, you don't tell somebody whenever you go to work about the free help that they can get. I'm talking to people all the time that are sitting there looking at their blue value notice, just freaking out, wondering how they're going to be able to pay their bills, and they need help. And they just need an answer. They don't need to learn how to do a dadgum appraisal. They just need an answer on how can I get my value lowered? How can I keep from getting taxed out of my house? And that's what I'm here for. And that's the whole reason why I'm doing this, is because it doesn't make sense to the legislators. They don't understand to keep people in a system like this where you have to get an advanced degree in alternative universe tax appraisal, which is really what it is, because it has no relevance on real day real estate methodology. It's when you change the definition of the actual word appraisal, we don't stand a chance. And I'm being dead serious. That's what they've done in property tax. And so people need help. Please help spread the word. And thank your local officials. I want to say this. We've had in Tarrant County, we have had our local officials stand up for us and do the right thing. Mayor Armin Mizani deserves credit. Ross McMullen, City of Keller, he's in a dadgum runoff or election right now. If you're in Keller, support that man. He's sticking his neck out on the line for no other reason but to do the right thing. And Judge Tim O'Hare stuck his neck out and said, is calling the appraisal district out on shenanigans and doing things that are not popular all the time. I mean, you would, when I'm saying not popular, I mean amongst his peers. There are plenty of people behind the scenes that were standing up for the chairwoman at the appraisal district. He had to go against the grain a little bit to stick his neck out there. Elisa Simmons is a commissioner on the commissioner's court. She is going to bat hardcore for people behind the scenes, especially. When you hear her talk, you can hear her passion. This is not about partisan politics or anything like that. You got Manny Ramirez has stood up and taken an active role. These, and I could just keep going on and on and on. There's a guy named oh gosh, I'm gonna forget his name. I'm definitely not gonna say it if I can't get it right. Oh, it's the end of the day, and I'm a little taxed. I'm getting a tad. Anyway, all right. I was going to start saying dad jokes. Here we go. I'm going to answer some questions here. I can't say it enough. Spread the word. freetaxprotest.com. I'm depending on you guys to get the word out. And, but I have to say this. This year, I decided I would ask for donations because the problem that we're facing is so much bigger. And part of the issue is I look down at what's going on in Austin and I want to have hope, but I see the bills that they're arguing. They're not arguing bills that are going to get us where we need to go. The House's version of the bill is going to, I saw somebody say, don't California my Texas. And it's the California tax bill. When you put a cap on the commercial property values, you're causing a big problem. I can go into detail. I don't know if anybody wants to really hear about that right now. But the value, if we end up with a value cap on commercial appraisals, commercial tax values, we are screwing ourselves. It is going to be, we're beyond hope. Okay. I'm just telling you. The Senate's version is much better as far as the value caps. Neither bill is perfect. I can go into detail on that, but anyway, whatever. The point is I started asking for donations because I realized there's nobody standing up and going to bat for homeowners like I am. And I'm just saying, like, you've got these other politicians, but Armin Mizani, he's the mayor of Keller. He can't do what I'm doing. Judge Tim O'Hare, he's county judge. He can't do what I'm doing. Then you've got some of these legislators. They've got to deal with border issues and gun issues and abortion issues and all these other issues. There's the other people that are out there that are vocal about property taxes. They're making money off the system. They're the ones that are giving advice to the politicians, and they're the ones that are taking the property tax money, stick it in their pockets. And so we can't sit around and hope for these people to all of a sudden be willing to totally revamp this industry that they're depending on so much. It's not that they're bad people. They're just humans. Who's going to go against their own self-interest? Now, I will say this. The tax consultants out there that are active legislatively, we may not agree on everything. We definitely don't agree on everything, but listen to what they're saying. They've got some really good points. And you've got there's an organization I'm a part of called Tap Tap. But they're giving good advice. Anyway, gosh, dog, I went on that bunny trail all because I just wanted to thank you for your generosity. It's blowing me away. You guys are amazing. The support that you have shown me and are giving me, it's overwhelming. It's incredible. And what I'm going to do is you're about to see me go on an advertising blitz and try and reach as many people as I can. And it's because you've donated. All I want to do is give right back. I want to reach as many people as I can, and I'm going to do that. And so, but I'm dependent on you guys to help spread the word. And when you're donating, I'm going to just join right along and do everything I can to help spread the word. So I'm trying to get that geared up and going. And I just can't say enough how much I appreciate your support and generosity and everything you're doing. Because, everybody's got a role. I can only do what I'm doing. And I'm dependent on you guys to do what you can do. And I tell you what, something that's amazing is when you get an army of people together, that are all marching the same direction, big things can happen. And so that's what gives me hope in this whole thing. I said, I was going down to Austin. I was a part of these legislative meetings. I started posting about it a little bit on Facebook. I felt so honored to be a part of those legislative think tank groups where you had some of the biggest power hitters in property tax reform at the table, and I got an invite. I'm like, man, I'm humbled and so grateful to be a part of that. But then I started seeing the climate in the room. I've had personal conversations with these guys, and I think that those legislators would do what it takes for real change if they thought they could get a bill passed. And so they're sitting there trying to weigh, well, do I do what's attainable and help people right now, or do I do what the right thing is to do and risk getting nothing done? And that's the balancing act that they're playing. And I don't blame them. And I think it's a tough job. But I also know that I'm not going to sit around and wait for them. I know the thing that's going to get some real progress done is if we do what we're doing right now, and we unify the voice of property owners, single family residential homeowners, and we stand up and say, you know what, we've had enough of this. We need some real change. And so instead of going down to Austin, on a monthly basis, I was doing that for a while, and if they call me down, I'm making the drive. But I decided I would focus our efforts right back here in building the Army, helping people right here, right now, and doing what I can to help people in the moment, and everybody getting on the same page. And then maybe we can, when we have a bigger voice, I think that we're going to get a lot more, get a better seat at the table. Anyway, all right. Thank you so much. Let me read some comments. Let's see here. We've got Denise saying, thank you for the information. Love your sense of humor and appreciate your work very much. You got it. Happy to help. Tabitha says, hey, Chandler, a few years ago, you gave a formula for protesting. Do you have any suggestions this year? Tabitha, this is kind of the very issue that we're dealing with, that Mayor Mizani was writing the letter about. The appraisal district had this really innovative way of handling protests. They would have this instant answer protest thing. Well, what Tabitha's talking about is we cracked the code and figured out the formula on the instant answer deal. And we started telling people about it and getting some amazing reductions. And it was hilarious because we're doing this over and over and over. And it's like, a slot machine. We'd put the numbers in, put in the secret formula, and then we'd press enter, and then we get a reduction. It was just amazing. We kind of throw a little party. It was a lot of fun. And we were getting reductions one after the other. And then all of a sudden we did the formula and it didn't work. And so what we would do, this is back in 2017, what we would do is we would realize they changed the formula on us. So since I was doing so many protests, I would just keep calculating a different formula and doing some trial and error until I figured out the formula again. And then we hammered them again. And then I blasted it out and I was telling everybody what the formula is. Anyway, that was in 2017. They revamped their entire system to create a random variable in their formula, so we couldn't figure it out to the penny anymore. And since they, and by the way, somebody on the inside at the appraisal district confirmed that we figured out the formula. Is great. But since we went that road and then they adjusted, they kind of made it hard for us to figure out the formula. Then we decided to go a different route with our protests. And so we just take a very traditional route. And now we have power in numbers. Last year we did 28,000 protests. And the great thing about that is they don't want me to do 28,000 hearings. They want to keep us out of the appraisal district. And so when we say, hey, this is the lowest value that the evidence will support, would you take this value? Then they've become a lot friendlier about saying yes, they'll take that value. And so that's the approach that we use. And if they won't accept the value that the evidence supports, then we escalate it and we go to a more formal hearing and on. And we do an affidavit hearing or in-person hearing, whatever the situation calls for. And so to answer your question, we don't have a formula. I could just answer your question with a simple answer, instead of giving a story every time. I could probably get through a lot more of these comments. We don't have too many though. All right, let's just keep going. Zuri says, "What's up? Hey, I wish you had a Collin County." Yeah, I wish we did too. I hope that we can expand to be able to help more people, more counties. That will help us build this army I'm talking about. But if you need a solution for a different county, go to www.freetaxprotest.com/alternative. That's freetaxprotest.com/alternative, and you can see the people that I would turn to if I was in a different county. And here we have Joey saying, I looked at the homes that recently sold, and the market value Tad gave me is a lot more than anything comparable. Yeah, I'm not understanding. It's as if they made a typo. Man, you're not lying there, Joey. It's bad. And all you can do is protest. If you're not going to do it yourself, sign up with me. I'll be glad to do it. It's really insane this year. It's shocking. What does David say? He says the explainer in the city's publication says last year alone, the city's property valuation topped 100 billion. Yeah, it's going to be a lot higher than that if that's really what it said. Don't doubt you. It's insane right now. Hi, Chandler. Is there a deadline to sign up on my website right now? I was going to put the deadline a little premature. I would just say sign up as soon as you can. I don't think I'm going to hit a limit, but you want to make sure you get in case I do. I did have a deadline of the 12th out there with Mayor Mizani's letter. It looks like they might consider extending the protest deadline. I'm not sure if they will or not, but because of the situation that we're in this year, even when that instant answer thing comes out, if they come out with it, I'm not so sure I think there's a chance it could be really good. I think there's a chance I wouldn't trust it at all. I don't know. I just know this. I know what I'm going to do, and I trust my own system, my own website, freetaxprotest.com. I'm just doing. So I would say sign up on my website before the deadline, and we'll take care of you. There's my answer. That's their goal. Go ask the king. Let them reject us. It's been happening for years. What's up? You leaving? I'm on Facebook Live. You want to come say hi? Yeah. All right. See you later. Team member Jennifer heading out. If you've talked to Jennifer, you know how awesome she is. She is a butt kicker. We just, you just gonna listen. Watch the weather. There's going to be a tornado. Is there going to be a tornado? If there's going to be a tornado in North Fort Worth, somebody's got to make a comment. So I get off this Facebook Live and go do it. There's a property tax tornado happening. Anyway, Jennifer is incredible. A lot of people ask, how can we protest for so many people? The answer is, I have a staff that the number one criteria is that they care. That's it in a nutshell. And the crazy thing is, when I look at some of these other tax consultants out there, some of them are fantastic. Some of them are great. And some of them are just trash. And the key differentiator between the good guys and the bad guys is how much they care. That's it. When you reach out to their office, are you going to get a response? When you have a complicated situation, do they attempt to help? Some of them you're lucky to get a response, and others like mine, you're going to get a response. And which I should say this, we're getting a ridiculous amount of incoming inquiries. I'm going to go check my email right now and just tell you where we're at. If you have sent an email, I have an amazing team. I have given them, my response to every single question that people have. We get 90% of the same of the questions we get are the same questions over and over and over. So once I've answered it once or twice, then I just train my staff on those answers, and then they can go out and answer 90% of the questions. For the 10% of questions that truly are really complicated, those get escalated, and I get involved, or Jennifer gets involved, or we do whatever we have to answer the questions. But I just want to tell you this. So we are now on emails that were sent. Let's see. We've got, everybody has received a response from us that emailed on the 23rd or prior. And we only have about 15 emails or so from the 24th. And it looks like a bunch of those are from the same people. So we're really just running about 1 day behind on our email. So if you're sending us an email, you're going to get a response. And I could not do what I'm doing if it weren't for you guys supporting me first and foremost. I couldn't do what I'm doing. And so I can't thank you enough. I can't thank my real estate clients enough. They're the ones that have, when somebody chooses our team of expert realtors to help them buy or sell a house, what we do is we take the revenue generated from those sales and we pour it right back into the community, and it funds this. And so I cannot thank our clients enough. They deserve a lot of thanks. My team deserves a lot of thanks. And that's how we do this, is we just have, it's not just me, but we've got a pretty small team of people. And some people wonder, do our realtors, are they actively involved in the actual protesting process? And the answer to that is no. For the most part, but they play a vital role in everything. They help with the customer service aspect and just making sure that everybody gets what they need. But we have specialists in different departments, and that's how we do it. I train everybody personally. So there you go. Buck stops here. Let's see. What else do we have? Zuri Chandler. You're in Collin County. Oh, okay. There you go. So freetaxprotest.com/alternative. Julie in the house. She's saying property taxes are actually less in California. How scary is that? Here's the thing, Julie. A lot of people say, well, why can't our property tax value just stop at what we purchased the house for? That's what happens in California, something called Proposition 13. Here's some unintended consequences. And this is very close to what happens, or what would happen if the House's version of the property tax bill got passed. It would limit the increase on all property, including commercial, at 5% increase per year. So when you get to a situation where let's just say hypothetically, if it happened here like it happens in California, and you had all the commercial property freeze at what they purchased it for, and then the actual real world market value of the property goes up and up and up and up and up, but you're still paying taxes on this amount, but the taxable value goes up and up and up and up and up, but you're not going to pay tax on this difference right here until the property is resold. Then the new buyer, it would reset the new taxable value to this level because that's what it was purchased for. It sounds great on the surface, but here's what happens. Those businesses don't have to worry about how close they are to grandma's house or where the kids are going to school. So guess what? They don't have to sell the building. And instead, they can afford some attorneys to figure out how to transfer the interest of a business that owns that property, how to transfer it from one person to the other without having to actually sell the property. So you can lock in the taxable value at this level. While the marketable value goes up and up and up, you change ownership effectively without having to without having to pay tax on that gap. And then guess what? Guess who makes up the difference? It's us, the homeowners. We make up the difference for what the commercial property owner would be paying. That's the problem that we're having in Texas already. If we put a 5% cap on commercial properties, it's only going to get worse. Part of California's economic issues out there are fueled by their tax setup out there. So we want to make sure that we are mindful of the unintended consequences. We don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. We're a very business-friendly state. So we want to make sure that we preserve what makes Texas great without getting rid of and get rid of the bad. And I would be happy to join in conversations. It's just it would boggle your mind to hear about how ridiculously difficult it is to change the law and to do anything that makes sense in Austin. I'll give you an example. From day one, it's very, very obvious what one of the biggest problems in property tax land is. It's this. It's the word appraisal. When you're dealing with property taxes, the word appraisal does not mean appraisal. It means homestead capped value. The only reason why that number is a relevant number at all is if you have a homestead and the value increase is capped at a certain level. Well, they call that the appraised value. The market value is what the house actually would appraise for in the real world. So when they start changing definitions of words like that, we don't stand a chance to understand the system. So I went to bat when I was working closely with Representative Matt Krause. He basically just said, hey, let's go shoulder to shoulder, try and pass some laws and clean up the system. Well, one of my first proposals was, let's change the terminology used in the tax system to match up with the real world definitions of these words. And he's like, yeah, great idea. No brainer. Obviously, let's go do it. And so we went to work on that. He did his political thing and started beating down doors, trying to figure out what it would take to get this law passed. And the answer that came back was, there's absolutely no chance on earth that will get changed anytime soon, because what has to happen to change that law is you have to go through the entire property tax code, scratch out the word appraised value, and write in the word homestead capped value. And the sheer volume of pages that it would take to scratch out one word, draft the document that would show what would go in its place, the stack of documents on that would be feet high. And when you do that and you have a stack of documents, feet high, then they just say, we'd rather focus our attention somewhere else. That's a problem we could probably put up with. And at that, I'm like, that's what's wrong with government and politics and legislation is it's cost prohibitive to do something that makes so much sense. But yet that one issue generates so much confusion. I promise you, anybody from the appraisal district that's listening to what I'm saying right now, they would agree to the statement that 90% of the people that are mad walking into their office are mad because of confusion relating to that single word. 90% of the foot traffic they get and the complaints and the disgruntledness comes from that one word. It's stupid. I've been petitioning the appraisal district. Hey, why don't we just change it here in Tarrant County and be leaders? And what I get back is, oh, we put an asterisk by the word and put a footnote. Anyway, whatever. Let's keep going. Oh gosh, why do I get so worked up about this? You know why? It's because I'm talking to people every single day that are suffering from this. And it just makes me mad. It's not right. That's why. So I know why, but it still feels weird to get this passionate about property taxes. Julie Hatfield says they get you in other places. It's a response to another comment. What about changing the whole paradigm and adding a fractional percentage to sales tax to support infrastructure costs? Sounds like a good idea. There's a group called Texans for Fiscal Responsibility. A guy there named Tim Hardin. He's got some of the most radical ideas that he can actually explain in detail about how to solve some of these problems. When you solve one problem, it opens up a few others. He does the best job explaining it than anybody else. I think that this sounds good on the surface. I think that I'd have to see the math and what would happen on that. Here's the thing, Scott. I've kind of abandoned trying to promote one solution for this. And the reason is because the whole system is so complicated. It's difficult to get everybody to agree to a solution. So, and plus, everybody has an interest in this. You got the seniors say, why are we having to pay school property tax? We don't have anybody in school. The homeschoolers are saying the same thing, by the way. And then you've got people you got all sorts of people saying, hey, it should be different. Where was I going? Oh my God. Why am I doing Facebook Live at 5:00? I can't remember where I was going with it. And I don't have an assistant here to be like, Chandler, you're driving down this road. You just drove. Anyway. Here's what I can say. It's difficult to get people to agree to the solutions, but and the problems are complex, and they exist on 4 different levels. You have the state, you have the regional, you have the local, and the personal. And so it's still, even though the problems are even that complex, it's much easier to get people to agree to the problems. For example, I'll give you one of the biggest problems is this fact right here. one of the biggest dysfunctions in our property tax system is that we are taxed on value that we cannot access until we sell our house. And if we have no desire to sell, then we're being taxed on money that we can't access. And so the value we're getting taxed on is value that we cannot access to pay the burden. And the value in which our properties are increasing is disproportionately higher than the increasing rate of our incomes. And so when you have this dysfunction where the burden to pay is so much higher and increasing at a rate so much greater than our ability to pay, then it creates a dysfunctional system. Well, guess what? Commercial property is not that way. When you increase rents, your property value goes up, your ability to pay goes up. It's a little bit more functional. But on single family residential, it's not that way. And so I can get just about everybody to agree to that fact. We're being taxed on unrealized gains. And what kind of dysfunctional system can survive off that? It doesn't make sense. Most everybody can agree on that. And so if I want to have any kind of success at changing the system, then what I'm going to do is I'm going to focus on getting agreement, unifying a voice, and getting a seat at the table. And then once we have an army big enough, then I will say, I'm sorry, you need to go back to the drawing board and do better than that. That's not acceptable. And those are a couple of the foundational blocks on how I'm going to help change the system. So we've already got an army that's about 30,000 strong. If I can expand to other counties, then we can be a force to reckon with. And so there you go. I don't know what we're going to do. I'm taking it 1 year at a time. Budget matters. Your donations help me significantly to be able to take strides to fix this whole property tax system at its source. All right. Susan says, thank you, Chandler. We signed up with you the first time and sent in a donation for both home properties. Susan, I can't thank you enough. You're just awesome. I tell you what, I am blown away at the generosity of people and the level at which people give me hope. You know, you see all this toxic stuff on in the news. Everybody's got a side. Everybody's, just instead of walking across the aisle to have a conversation, everybody just wants to throw stones, and it just doesn't happen in my world the same way. It helps to turn off the news and have conversations like this, and I don't know, support each other, help each other. It's so refreshing. I feel honored and humbled to be able to be a part of this, and it's a cool thing. So I appreciate you letting me serve you. It's a gift to me just to be able to help people like this. So hopefully we can solve the problem. And in the meantime, I will help as many people as I possibly can. I've got a slogan. It's on my wall. Well, you can't see it anyway. Whatever. Maybe we'll come out with it. One of my properties in Tarrant County, land only went up over 500%. That's crazy. So here's the thing about land. First of all, I can't protest on land like I can protest on houses. So that's one of the few types of properties that don't qualify for our service. So I hate that, Anthony. But here's the other part. They really only do an in-depth valuation every 3 years on land. And so that's one reason why you see a drastic jump like that, is because they're just revaluing it very seldomly. And then there aren't as many land sales as there are home sales, especially in a developed area like Tarrant County is, just about anywhere you go. And so when there are only a few sales, then those few sales will dominate. And if a couple of them are really high, then you're fighting an uphill battle. All right. Anthony again says it was around 11,000 per acre. Now, geez, man, that's crazy. When you need to, if you're throwing raise the white flag, throw in the towel, and need to sell, holler at me. I don't want that, by the way. I want to do everything I can to help you keep your property as long as possible so that you get to sell on your terms, not when you're being forced out. That's kind of the deal here. Double for my land too. I wrote to Abbott. If it helps, not sure. Hey, Suzanne, look, that's what you got to do. Just got to stay involved. And we got mass peeps. That's right. We're on the same page. It's shocking to me with all of the anger around property taxes that Tarrant County went so high. Yeah, no joke. Well, Mayor Mizani, as you heard, he wrote this letter to the Tarrant Appraisal District saying, hey, watch out. All right. TCAT has gone crazy with home appraisals. I've got 2 homes on the same street. This is a common thing, unfortunately. I submitted 2 properties a week ago. Do I need to add anything? Jason, what is up? You don't need to add anything unless you have another property. Then you might need to add that. But no, I'm just kidding. No, you don't need to do anything. I think that the strength of our protest this year is going to rely heavily on market data. Since the market went up so high, it dropped about 10%. The appraisal district is using a lot of high comps. We're going to get our comps from the lower end of the range. I think we're going to have a lot of success protesting this year. I don't think that we're going to rely quite as much on condition issues and that sort of thing. If you want to upload them, you're more than welcome to. Doesn't hurt anything. But if you don't have solid estimates with a sizable amount of like functional issues with your property, like plumbing, foundation, roof, that sort of thing, then you're probably wasting your time. They don't give real world credit for paint, carpet, landscaping, fencing, that sort of thing. Even though we all know that those things affect market value greatly, they just don't give us credit for that stuff. So it's ridiculous crazy that my home's market value jumped 30% from last year. I agree. I'll do what I can to help. They just need to abolish property tax and get the money elsewhere. See, okay, so here's the thing, David. I will support this idea. I want to give you the counter argument, though. Okay, so Tim Harden, taxpayers for fiscal responsibility or something like that. There was an idea that they proposed. Anybody who's really gung ho about property tax reform, one of the most popular seemingly attainable ideas that are out there is an idea that I support, but I want to give you the counter argument to it. And what it is this: you've got this state surplus, the budget surplus of like $35 billion or something like that. And what you could do is you could take a massive amount of that surplus and use it to buy down the half of the school district tax. It's the M&O tax, if you want to get technical. That you can start to buy it down. When you buy it down, then it's seen as a permanent reduction. And we all know the school district is the largest portion of the property tax. So there's a 10-year plan that I've heard proposed on how you can get that to zero. Now, here's the thing. If me and you are not funding our school districts locally, and instead, if that funding is coming from the state instead of locally, right now it's kind of split between the two. But what if we had no local funding? It's all coming from the state. Then would our local school districts pay attention to us when we say whatever's being said, whether it's CRT or the books or whatever, or whether it's inclusiveness or whatever side of the fence you're on? There's a huge battle going on, or school choice kind of stuff. I don't know. There's battles going on in these different areas. Would they listen to us if our tax dollars weren't staying local? I don't know. That's a question that was proposed to me, and I think it's worth thinking through. But until I don't know. I'm a property tax guy, so I'm going to go for let's get rid of the property tax by applying that surplus. What would make sense? A lock for so Suzanne, good question. I was talking about some of the legislative things that are going on. Both the House and the Senate version talk about paying down this rate compression, which would be the state funding for the school district. The House version has more of that. I like more of that. The cap version, the cap thing is really where I have the big discrepancy. I think that the cap should be applied to single family residential properties, whether it's a homestead or not. And the reason is because of how it's valued. It's valued through a sales comparison approach, meaning you're taxed on a value according to what other people paid for other houses. And it has nothing to do with your income or ability to pay. And if you have no desire to sell, I think that that's just unfair. On the commercial side, it's valued completely different. The property value on the commercial side is according to, it's a proportionate to the amount of revenue produced by the rents of the commercial property. So as their property value goes up, so does the revenue. As the revenue goes up, so does their property value, so does their tax bill. it's not happy, but it's functional. And here's the other thing. If they want to protest, all they have to do is sue the appraisal district, and the appraisal district settles all those lawsuits. And so I helped with a study, I guess, that Jess Harden with the Star Telegram was doing over the disparity between commercial and residential property values in property tax land. And over a 5-year period, we looked at some Walmarts that had gone down 1.5% over a 5-year period. In that same time period, residential went up by 50%. And so I like Texas being business friendly. That's part of what makes it business friendly. It's just that the way that we talk about property taxes is that those facts are conveniently left out of the conversation, and they need to be first and foremost. We need to have a debate over what needs to be reformed in that area, if anything at all. And it needs to be apparent, and we need to get our legislators arguing about it and talking about it. And if the people say, hey, you know what, we like how business friendly our state is, we think that those avenues should still exist for commercial property owners, then so be it. I just think right now it's not being talked about like it should. All right. So I want to say my website again, freetaxprotest.com. Help spread the word, please. Appreciate it. And Casey's saying, well stated. I don't know what he's talking about. How can the land value increase every year? It's the same thing. When other people pay for, they're just doing a sales comparison approach. When other people buy land around your property, then they say, well, if you were to sell your land according to what these other sales have been going for, then you could expect to sell yours for a comparable amount. And so it's the same thing. All right. I got a question for you. If you guys are willing to give me a little feedback. This one we're going on almost an hour. It's almost like it's difficult for me to turn this thing on and not go an hour, but I can exercise a little bit more discipline and constraint in these. And I was thinking, what if I do once a day Facebook Live, and we get involved in promoting it, and I'll get on here and teach people how to protest from A to Z, and maybe hit a different topic each day, because we've got the legislative thing. We could talk about the over 65 exemption. I know I usually have a lot of people asking questions about that. We could talk about some nuances involved in property tax protesting. We could talk about, I don't know, all sorts of different angles in property tax stuff. I could go into a market value protest versus an unequal protest. We could talk about problems in general, solutions on the local level, how you can hold the appraisal district accountable, all sorts of stuff. I was thinking, what if we just have a once a day live stream? I limit it to like 15 minutes. And I answer questions, and I just hit one topic, do a little bit, and then I do it once a day. You guys could help promote it so that we could help spread some of this information. Let me know what you think about that. I want to spread the word in the most effective way, and I'm just thinking, what's the best way to reach the masses while I'm working behind the scenes to help with all the work that comes along with processing all the protest stuff and keeping everything running smooth. I don't have time to, make a bunch of phone calls or something like that. I need, whatever I do, it's got to be kind of like a something leveraged where we can get the word out. So let me know what your thoughts are on that. Again, before I sign off, I just want to repeat what the breaking news was. Armin Mizani, the Keller mayor, sent a letter to the appraisal district saying, you guys have got to shape up your system over there. It's not good that people haven't had the ability that they've had in the past to protest. The website's all messed up, and he's saying, guys, y'all need to correct the website and consider possibly extending the protest deadline. And that's the letter there. It takes some guts to do that. And there you go. Let me just mention again, if you are in Arlington, there's a guy named Dave Mosby who's running for city council. He is a good person, and he has been involved in the property tax fight. There's a guy named Rocky Dilly, who's in Kennedale, who's been in the property tax fight. He's running for city council, I think, re-election. We got Ross McMullen in Keller. We've got a guy named Joe Ashton, who's running in for the water board. He needs your vote. There's There are a couple people there's Shannon Woods and Laura Pritchett that have both been very supportive. They're both running for the Tarrant County College. And here's the thing, I can rattle off some of these politicians and tell you about them. You're probably paying property tax to the water board, and you're probably paying property tax to Tarrant County College. So even though you might think these people don't matter, they absolutely do. We need people elected to these positions that are fighters. Ross McMullen was out there just being a leader and putting his neck on the line, standing up for me and you. And I'm going to recognize that. You might not agree with all the points that all these politicians hold when on certain other social issues. But on these issues, they absolutely matter. Let's see here. Or they're on our side for property tax. I was going to say one other thing. Oh, we need candidates for the Appraisal District Board of Directors. If you know somebody that might want to run for the Tarrant Appraisal District Board of Directors, reach out to me. We need people in different taxing entity. We need people all over Tarrant County. And so we're going to have, this year is a re-election year for the Appraisal District Board of Directors. And we need to get good people on that board. So if you're interested, if you know someone that might be interested, having some kind of political connection or governmental connection helps. Having some knowledge about property tax helps. But more than anything, the only thing that is absolutely required is your willingness to stand up for what's right, speak your mind, speak the truth, and stand up for homeowners. We need homeowner advocates that are on that board. And so it's not a normal election. I'm involved in all sorts of stuff. So if you've got a candidate that you think might want to run for the Appraisal District Board of Directors, you need to connect them to me and I can help get them plugged in. I've got a lot of relationships with a lot of elected officials all over Tarrant County. And some of these taxing entities need a good candidate. And if you're with one of those taxing entities, reach out to me. I may have a candidate for you. The last time I asked for this, I saved a little list of people. I might not have even reached back out to you and said thank you, which is shame on me. During tax protest time, it's kind of like that's when I get all the attention. I'll put the word out and say, hey, if you're thinking about running, let me know. And then all of a sudden, I got a deadline to meet and a bunch of evidence to process. And then I start throwing stuff out the window and just focusing on meeting those deadlines and making sure we're doing a great job getting people reductions. And so once in a while, I will drop the ball on just like extra communication. Vital communication gets all the attention. Amir says, anyone in Mansfield for the board of, I know Casey Lewis has been going at bat. There's a lady named Renee. Oh gosh, she would kill me if she was watching this. Jeez. Desiree Thomas. Sorry. She is awesome. Can I I'm not going to share a list. Can somebody else go back and listen to what I just said and make a list? Because here's the thing. It's going to cause me to have to deal with the political haters. Oh my gosh, there's somebody running for mayor right now in Fort Worth. Oh my gosh, my brain is fried. Castillo, somebody help me out. Oh my gosh, this is embarrassing. My wife's probably watching this. She's like, all right, Chandler, now you got to delete it. She's not saying that. I didn't make inappropriate jokes this time. Oh my gosh. Jennifer Castillo. Jennifer Castillo. Look, this is, how I know somebody's going to be awesome? Before they ever start running, they're calling me, getting a personal one-on-one tutorial about property tax, and they're interfacing, talking about workshopping on different ideas. You have to be a property tax nerd to get to the level that I am to understand this stuff. It doesn't happen by accident, and people just can't afford to do it. Only by the grace of God and your support am I able to get the kind of education that I've received in this. And I've had a pretty good number of elected officials reach out and say, hey, man, can you teach me? And I will drop what I'm doing to help elected officials learn this stuff. Jennifer Castillo is one of those that reached out, and we spent a good amount of time in a conference room going over this stuff. Elisa Simmons, I've talked with her plenty. I've talked with Judge O'Hare. He's Armin Mizani and Ross McMullen. A lot of these people, actually, they'll have a question for me. And whenever I start talking to them, like I talk to anybody, whether you're elected official or not, I kind of start at the 101 level and I start explaining the most basic stuff. And then all of a sudden I realize they're levels above everybody else, because I am thankful we have a lot of really smart elected officials here. So we can jump right on to the graduate level property tax conversations. But anyway, all right, y'all. Appreciate it. Please help spread the word. freetaxprotest.com. Spread it in Facebook groups, nextdoor.com. Instead of just sharing, repost, tell your neighbors, go to church, talk about it at school, where people are offline. Got to help spread the word. There are still like 2/3 of people are not protesting, and they are getting hosed, and we need to help them. People are getting taxed out of their homes. They think there's no help and no hope and nobody to help. And that's not the case if you're in Tarrant County, because I'm here for you. So appreciate it. Thank you guys. Have a great day. Over now.